The Australian government is banning under 16s from social media and YouTube. How will Minecraft creators find love now? I've got a better law. Every parent who buys an iPad for their kid should be in prison. You might be wondering, how's the government going to make sure that kids aren't on social media? That's right, you and me are going to have to upload our IDs to every single platform. How convenient that right when anti-war sentiment is at an all-time high in Australia, the government wants to know the home address of every poster in the country and to kill online anonymity for good. Gotta keep the children safe, right, Elbow? From posts on social media, though, not from bombs, yeah? Now, I know what you're thinking. I'll just get a VPN. Guess what, buddy? They're gonna make those illegal next, just like the UK. This law is so clearly not about protecting children from harmful online content. If it was, they would have included pornography websites in it, but they chose not to. This law is about finding out the exact home address of you and me so that every time we voice a political opinion, they know who said it and where they live. I'm Lewis Spears. Welcome back to Lou Review. Like, subscribe, and come and see me live, louispears.com. Let's break it down. Now, I bet some of you watching know all about the new laws in the UK designed to keep children safe, and you think that's pretty dystopian. Well, guess what? Like always, Australia is ahead of the ballgame when it comes to a surveillance state that preys upon freedoms in their country. Because, I don't know if you know this, but Australia is explicitly, loudly, and proudly leading the charge when it comes to internet censorship in the Western world. About 7 months ago, Australian politicians passed a law to ban under 16s from social media before they even worked out how exactly that ban would be enforced and what kind of technology was going to have to be created to implement it. And now we're only a few months away from this law actually being enforced. December this year is when it goes into effect. And we still don't know how it's going to be enforced or what technology we are going to be forced to use. The social media ban prohibits anyone under 16 from accessing any sort of social media website. They haven't defined specifically what websites are social media and what websites aren't, but the list of banned websites are expanding. For example, YouTube was initially excluded from this ban, but they just got put in it as well. The Australian government doesn't list what social media websites are included and excluded. It does list some by name, but it defines social media as a website or app whose primary purpose is social interaction and user-generated content. That's one of the more broad definitions I could come up with. I mean, there's an argument to be made that texting is social media under the eyes of this law. I'm going to get into what I think about this law and what I think about the idea of banning children from the internet and social media. But first, let's have a listen to what the government says about this law that they've already passed and they're going to implement, despite not being clear about how it's going to work still.
Today, we are prioritising parents ahead of platforms. The Albanese government is pushing forward with our mission to keep Australian kids safe online, with new rules to support our world-leading social media age restrictions.
Man, I really hate how they keep saying this is world-leading legislation. Just because no one else has done it yet doesn't mean it's a good idea, okay? And you can see that as soon as Australia implemented this law, the UK followed with their own version. We often, when it comes to the limitation of freedoms here in Australia, we are often the first country to test it out. You know why? Because we are and still are and seemingly always will be a prison colony. Most white descendants in this country are either descendants of prison guards or prisoners. And you can see that reflected in our culture still today. We love rules and we love not rocking the boat and we love limiting the freedoms of each other in this fucking country. And this is exactly that type of law. Them also leaning on, oh, we're going to help parents, not big corporations, is also bullshit, because I've had a look at this law and they keep talking about how this social media ban is to protect children from harmful content online. But do you know what's not included in the ban? Pornography websites. It is completely legal in Australia for children to view pornography in their homes. It's not illegal. Don't believe me? Here's a document on the New South Wales official government website about it. Generally speaking, in the eyes of Australian law, it is not illegal for someone under the age of 18 to view pornography personally and in private. So if this law was really about protecting children from harmful content, they would include pornography websites in the ban. But it's not. It's not about protecting children. It's about forcing me and you and every adult in the country to upload their identification to a website to voice a political opinion. It's about destroying anonymity in this country. And I don't think that it is a coincidence that they are now expanding what they determine to be social media under the eyes of this law, right when 100,000 people in Sydney marched across the Sydney Harbour Bridge in protest of a war that seemingly only the elites in our country want to help and assist with. Bad news, anonymity online is dead forever. Good news, I'm almost at 600,000 subscribers. That is crazy. We're going to hit that before the end of the year because you're going to subscribe. And you know what else you're going to do? You're going to support the show by buying the brand new merch. Check that out, Spearhead Sundays. Can you see the full back piece? I feel like I'm about to get a cavity search. loosespears.com. It's brand new merch. We got signed posters. We've got autist driving license pins to celebrate me getting my driver's license at 31 years old, like a 16-year-old who shouldn't be on social media. And orders close on August 31. So grab them now before they're gone. loosespears.com. It's pretty rich to hear politicians in this country preaching about protecting children while our Foreign Minister Penny Wong is in press conferences saying, oh, we only supply Israel's fighter jets with non-lethal parts. I'm sorry, can you describe to me what a non-lethal part of a F-35 is? Which bit is non-lethal? Which part of a gun is the non-lethal bit? It's a fucking gun. In Australia, our official government's policy is to protect children by allowing them to view pornography in our country and dropping bombs on kids in other countries while limiting the ability to stay anonymous online for anyone over the age of 16. This law makes no fucking sense, and it's all about censorship and government control.
In response to advice from the E-Safety Commissioner, the online safety rules tabled today specify which types of online services will not be captured by the social media law, including online gaming, messaging, education and health apps. These types of online services have been excluded from the minimum age obligations because they pose fewer social media harms to under 16s.
I'm sorry, but if you're trying to tell me that Discord is less dangerous than the YouTube comment section, you're fucking insane. Have you seen some of the stuff that's going on in Discords, man? This is not good. You're trying to tell me that YouTube is more dangerous than League of Legends. I don't think you've seen what League of Legends does to a teenage boy's brain. I would much rather us send minors back to the jungles of Vietnam again than send them to jungle in League of Legends. As fucked up as those soldiers were by PTSD and Agent Orange, at least they showered. Again, this is the government exposing themselves to the real reason why this law is being brought in. This is not about private communication where children are really preyed upon. If you really think about it, it's one-to-one communication. That's when children are really predated on by strangers. This is about knowing exactly who is posting what and where they live so that they can control narratives and censor people whose opinions they do not like if they so choose to. This law, which forces all adults in the country to upload their identification to have an opinion online, fuses perfectly with the Data Retention Act of 2015, which forces all telecommunication services and online service providers to store data, all communications, all posts from their clients so that the government can access it at any time they want. First, our government forces telecommunications businesses to store IP addresses and who's contacting who. Now they're forcing social media websites to keep identifications and addresses for individual accounts. Hello, dystopia, we have arrived.
All services that meet the definition of age-restricted social media platform and are not specifically excluded in the rules will be subject to the social media minimum age law. This includes Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, Twitter, X, and YouTube, amongst others.
So they've just added YouTube, which was previously excluded from this law. And I heard from a little birdie who works in Parliament House that Google is absolutely furious about this. In fact, just a couple of weeks ago, they had organized an event at Parliament House And as soon as they learned that the Parliament House was going to include YouTube in the social media ban, they cancelled the event the day it was supposed to happen. This is a big battle that's been happening between Google and the Australian government. And it's really not about protecting children, because I don't think that children should be on social media. I think it's bad for them. I don't think they should have accounts. I think it opens them up to eating disorders and seeing content they're not ready for, to radicalizing children with political opinions they shouldn't even be aware of when they're 11 years old, seeing gore, just getting fucked up images of what an adult is and what a successful person looks like, which leads to an insecurity, self-harm. So many terrible things happen from children being on social media. But this is not a law that affects children at all. It actually just affects adults. If you really think about it, children won't be affected by this law at all. They don't have identifications to upload. That's something that I'm going to have to do to be able to use Twitter. And YouTube being reclassified as a social media website under the eyes of this law to protect children really reveals the government's hypocrisy even more. Because what is the difference between YouTube and Pornhub, which is not subject to this law? They're both video sharing websites where anyone can create an account and upload to. They both have comment sections which apparently classify it as a social media, but only YouTube is subject to the ban, not Pornhub. From December, it will be completely legal for a child to create an account on Pornhub, but illegal for them to create one on YouTube. How is this about protecting children?
And as parents, we are really trying our best when it comes to the internet, but it is like trying to teach your kids to swim in the open ocean with the rips and the sharks compared to at the local council pool.
What is a bummer is, I'm a father to a son. I agree with her 100%. It is impossible to control what your children are seeing on social media. It is an incredibly toxic place for especially a teenager to be influenced by. And it's an impossible uphill battle that no parent could ever possibly win. So I definitely sympathize with parents who want social media to be illegal. And I 100% agree that children should not be on social media. I just don't know how you can possibly enforce that without doing tyranny on every single adult. There is no way to make sure that children are not on social media without making every single adult upload identification to dozens of websites. This is a huge privacy problem that I have a huge issue with. I mean, I just covered on this channel 72,000 women had their home address, their driver's license, photos of them leaked from the T app because they uploaded their ID to be able to use it. Now, my government is going to force me to upload my identification to every single social media website that I use, and I have to trust all 15 plus of them. That is way too much to ask from me, and way too much to ask from foreign-owned social media businesses. Why do I have to trust them with my home address, my ID, all of this information, when we know data leaks happen all the fucking time? But if I think about it, the only alternative to this is me giving my identification to, I don't know, the government, who then gives it to all of the social media websites. And now I have to trust that the government isn't going to use that information to track me and monitor the political opinions that I may be expressing anonymously. Maybe the only other solution is a third-party identification service, but then I got to trust them to protect my data. I just think that this is rife for abuse and tyranny by a government that, while now I might trust with my ID, but who knows what'll happen in 30 years, whoever's going to be in charge. Once you make these things law, it's not about the government that you have right now. It's about the government that you may have 50, 60 years from now that could very well be a dictatorship that wants to censor political opinion.
The onus here is on the platforms. Come 10 December, if your kid has a Facebook login, Facebook account, it is on Facebook to deactivate that account. They need to make sure that no new accounts are activated. They need to take reasonable steps to make sure that any workarounds or mitigations, because kids, God bless them, are going to find a way around this, and maybe they're all going to swarm on LinkedIn. We don't know. Like, these are meant to be working rules, and they also need to sort of correct any errors as they arise.
That is so fucking Australian, is just going, yeah, you figure it out. It's illegal. We're not going to police it. You have to police it. You figure it out, and we're going to fine you $50 million if you fuck it up, according to our loose definition of a job done well or poorly. All right, you gotta figure it out. Gee, who do I trust with enforcing this rule? A government who refuses to explain what social media specifically is and how it should be enforced, or the multi-billion-dollar fucking corporation that doesn't care about me at all?
Kids who are watching on the news tonight, these laws are coming. Your parents are telling the truth. We are banning social media.
You know what's going to be tough about this law is that undeniably it's going to have a massive positive effect on the mental health of everyone's children. And every parent is just going to be like, "Oh, thank goodness. I don't have to console my 13-year-old daughter because she doesn't look like Madison Beer with a face filter." This is great. And we're all just going to give up our liberties because it's going to make parenting a little bit easier. I don't care if your 14-year-old girl has an eating disorder. I want to send bomb threats anonymously on Facebook. So that's what we know right now. But it seems like this law is written in a way and explicitly stated as something that will continue to evolve and expand and be built upon. I mean, you heard it from the lady herself. We're going to implement this and we're going to keep adding layers to it and building on it. It's like a surveillance state improv. They're just being like, oh yeah, we're going to ban this. Oh yeah, we're going to add this into the ban. Oh yeah, we're going to demand to know this information, and we're just being intentionally vague and obtuse about how exactly this is going to be enforced and what sort of information the adults who are legally able to access social media are going to have to provide. Because at the end of the day, I don't want social media available to children. I think it's really bad. I think it makes kids dumb and sad and suicidal. But this is a law that punishes adults who are able to access social media. I don't know how else you could ban kids from social media. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that it should be illegal for a child to own a smartphone that can do anything other than text and call their mom and maybe use the GPS. That's the only other solution that I can think of where the government gets in the way, but then you're just going to be fining parents for giving secondhand phones to their kids. So that's obviously impractical. That doesn't work. I don't know. I just think this is a fucking bad law that is surveillance state shit designed to monitor who's posting what and where they live, that we will be paying the price for 10 years down the road. And it's dressed up in a beautiful disguise and marketed as we're protecting children online. But it's really about them knowing my home address before I voice my political opinion from a anonymous account or a formerly anonymous account, because in Australia, those just became illegal. And with that, I'm Lewis Spears. Like, subscribe, and come and see me live. I've got Frankston, then I'm done in Australia. I'm going to England, Scotland, Ireland in 2025. These shows are all filling up quick. They're almost full. London sold out. Manchester's almost full. You got to get them now. LewSpears.com. I'll see you at the shows.